Salutations readers, welcome back to the Citigo Writer channel. My name is Nkechi, and for today we're starting off the full moon readathon. Now, if you don't know what this readathon is, this is a readathon hosted by Jan from Readathon, and she's also the host of the Full Moon Book Club. If you are familiar with this readathon from last year, because this is the second year, last year it was a week, this year's 2 weeks, but it's also because of in honor of this year, and this in August actually, there will be 2 full moons. Today on August 1st and also on August 30th. So this is going to be a lot longer than it was last year. Hence, now it's 13 days. So the readathon is from August 1st to the 13th. There are prompts, there's activity, the prompts bookish wise and just activity wise. And if you want to get all the prompts, you got to do the bookish stuff and the activity to get that character, because there's 4 characters you can collect. There's the skeleton, jack-o'-lantern, vampire, and devil. Now for here, my goal is to try to collect all 4 of them, although my prediction is that I'm only going to collect 3, and that's assuming I get through all the books or any of these books, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But anyways, that's just some pretty much quick rundown, cliff note version of the readathon. If you really want to know more details on the readathon, I will of course tag Jan in the description. I will also link her announcement video down below so that y'all can have all updated information for this year. Now, let's get to the most exciting part, which is the TBR. My TBR is quite large, and it's only large because similar to my Asian Readathon TBR, I have options. I have options so that I can really truly fulfill every single one of these bookish prompts as best as I can. So all these prompts, either books will be doubled up, and I just have multiple options. So I'm just like, y'all, we're doing whatever we can. And also DNFing, okay? Mood reader, I'm a DNFer. We're gonna be DNFing here, okay? And so, yeah, but let's start with the priority books. There are 6 books over here that I'm like, these are my priority ones. These are ones I actively want to focus on to see if they fulfill all the prompts and things. So first up, I have A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is actually one of Jan's favorite books. She's already read it a lot of times. It's one of her favorites. If you don't know what A Diary of Blood is, it's basically Dracula retelling, but following Dracula's first bride, Constanta. And yeah, this is actually novella/novel length. It kind of is one or the other, but I think originally it's more novella, but I think it's a little bit longer. Seems a little bit longer. It's kind of like a novel, but I'm going to say this is more like novella. And I've actually already started it. This one could actually fulfill every single one of the bookish prompts for the skeleton, jack-o'-lantern, vampire, and devil, which is so interesting for me. I was like, so actually I can complete this readathon as far as bookish wise with this book alone. Now, I'm prioritizing the Diary of Blood because according, at least to looks of my my priority TPR, this is the shortest book. And I did actually have the audiobook, but I returned the audiobook not because the audiobook was bad, but it was honestly because of the fact that I was already hooked reading this physically, and I actually already made it to page 73. Like, I am very much interested in what's going on over here. And yeah, honestly, I'm not going to try to talk too much about what these books are about because we have a lot of books to get through, and I don't got time for all that. So yeah, this is pretty much priority number 1 because if I finish this book, technically speaking, I can say I completed the readathon already. Technically. And then another book I was also going to read is Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker. This one would have fulfilled the skeleton and the vampire prompt. Because I think one of the prompts in the vampire has something with blood on the title, just like A Diary of Blood. And then also there's hardcover for the skeleton prompt. So that's why I have Blood Debts. And I do plan to read Blood Debts very soon because I did originally get the e-arc version of this by Nkechi and Tortine. And I actually have not read the e-arc and the link expires. So I'm just like, well, we gotta read this book eventually because I want to get feedback and, have that feedback ratio on Nkechi go up. So yeah, I'm definitely planning to read this. I have the audiobook borrowed from the library. So after A Diary of Blood, this is literally my next go-to because gotta get through this book. And this is a YA contemporary fantasy book with featuring twins. Very, very much interesting. So yeah, I'm interested to read that. And then another book I also plan to read is Song of Silver Flame Like Night by Emily Wen Zhao. This will fulfill, I think, the devil prompt. Yes, the devil prompt. It also, for something fire involved in the sense of the title has the word flame. So I'm just like, well, sure, why not? And I don't know if it really fulfills anything else besides that, at least for me. So, yep, this one is a YA, I think, historical fantasy. I actually kind of forgot what this book is about. I literally had this thing pre-ordered for January since it came out January this year, and I already forgot what this book is about. So I don't remember much else besides the fact that I think this is YA historical fantasy, or maybe it's just YA fantasy with some historical elements or something. I don't really remember. And then I also have a few library books as well. So I have The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This is the first book in the Rook and Rose trilogy. This one is for the Devil Prompt, I think, with morally great characters, since we're following a con artist. So I don't know, it kind of gives morally great, even though I'm not totally sure if the main character here is morally great or not, or there's more morally great characters. I do not know. But I do hopefully plan to read it, but as you can tell, it's a thick book. It's a thick one. This might be more of like a last minute edition. Not last minute edition, more like I probably won't read in this particular vlog. I probably will read in the next one. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, this one I do plan to read. And now the next two books here are more for the jack-o'-lantern prompt. So first up, I have Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. This one is for the nostalgic spooky book. Now this one was actually a prompt that I was like really having a hard time with, because I'm like, what's the nostalgic but also spooky to me? And I think this fits more on spooky and less nostalgic for me, in the sense that I'm not familiar much with Ava Reed. I'm not even familiar with the retelling, because this is actually a gothic horror retelling of the Juniper Tree. Yeah, and also I've heard a lot of good things about this book in particular. And Ava Reed does have a book coming out later this year that I'm also very much interested in, and I want to read something by them before reading Starting and Drowning. So I wanted to read Juniper and Thorn. And this last book here is All the White Spaces by Allie Wilkes. This one was recommended to me by Jesse from Jesse on YouTube. This is highly recommended. I do think this is supposed to be like a horror thriller, queer horror thriller one. Again, don't really know too much about it, but honestly, sometimes it's just the best way, especially when it comes to horror and thrillers. It's kind of the best to not to know too much about it. At least for me, that's just my philosophy. So this is for the someone else picked prompt in the jack-o'-lantern prompt. All right, now this here are pretty much my priority reads. All 6 of these books. I'm just like, look, I really want to prioritize these books, especially the ones I borrow physically from the library. But again, DNFing is a thing for me. So if I'm not here for the books or something, we'll DNF. But these are the books I am prioritizing to read in the next 13 days. So this TBR is not just for the full moon readathon. It's also like an August TBR. Maybe even a September one as well if I don't get to them, because it is a lot of books and I don't read that fast. You know, I really don't read that fast. So like I definitely know I'm not going to get to these books in 13 days, let alone in 31 days. So, and stuff. So that's the case. Kind of consider this more like an end of summer TBR, since August is the last month and for the summer, and then probably an early autumn TBR, because I do plan to get to these books pretty soon. So that's my TBR. These are priority reads, and I definitely hope to finish reading A Diary of Blood today, because if I finish this today, then technically speaking, I've already completed the readathon. So then the only thing I have to work on then is to add some more books, so that I didn't read just one book for a readathon. I'm just like, I kind of want to read a little bit more, but again, no pressure. You know, I'm here for the fun. I'm here for the fun of it. I'm here to even show you all my participation in the activity prompts. So first up, actually, I think the activity prompt for the skeleton is your favorite graphic tee. And actually, I wear a lot of graphic tees, so I have several. But this is one of them, actually. It's this Air Pastel one with the military gray version of a bear. That also says Air Pastel on the bottom here. But yeah, this is one of my favorite graphic tees, actually. I really like wearing it. And then also with the book that might fulfill prompts. So yes, I will update y'all whenever I finish a book, because who knows, maybe I don't finish a diary today. Maybe I finish a different book. And also I have editing to do. So I gotta edit this clip because we are editing as we're going along. All right. So yeah, I will update y'all. I'll just update y'all whenever I feel like it. Okay, cool. Salutations everyone. Today is August 3rd, so it's day 3 of the full moon readathon, and I have a few updates. Now, I like to kind of name these updates in honor of the phases of the moon, because why not? Full moon readathon, the moon phases, all the things. So when I introduced y'all to this this readathon beforehand with the intro on my TBR, consider that the full moon update. This was when everything is high, especially with the full moon we got on the 1st. It was a super moon, okay? A very powerful moon. Now, this one, consider this the Waning Gibbous. This is the next phase here. So I'm kind of going to be talking about things I've been going on since yesterday and today. So first up, yesterday I didn't really read. I don't know, I just wasn't really in a reading mood for some reason. But I did buy a decanter. And apparently a decanter is where you put in alcoholic liquids in it. To be honest, I just thought it kind of reminded me of like a potion bottle or something, just with very intricate designs. That's kind of one of the reasons why I just got it. And also, it just looks really cool. And I kind of want to use it for future videos. So if you see this around, you know where and when I got it. I actually got this in Target because Target was having some nice fall autumn decor right now. So snag this up. And then I was also working on my reading journal. For those who are new to my channel, or if you've been in my channel for a little while but you've just never seen it before, I do have a reading journal where I just like to keep track of the books that I read. And I did actually make spreads, not just for the month, but also for this readathon. So I will show y'all the August stuff a little bit later, but I just want to show y'all the full moon readathon spread. See? So I pretty much organized it by the prompts. I don't have the title of the readathon, but so far, yeah, I have the title here of like the characters here. And then I have like the crescent moon prompts here. I have the half moon prompts here. And then I have the full moon prompts here with the activity prompts. And I'll call them in and the places where I'll put the book covers that if I fulfill the prompt, the bookish prompt or the activity prompt, I'll color it in. And then this is in spot for like the book cover and stuff. And as you could tell, I have indeed filled up a few bookish prompts here. And actually I fulfilled 3 out of the 4 activity prompts. So yeah, I have my favorite graphic tee, which is what I'm wearing right here. I did actually consume something pumpkin flavored, which was actually very surprising. I was really not sure I was going to fulfill that, but I fulfilled it. And I did read past my bedtime. In fact, I actually finished a book today, which has fulfilled all of these little spaces here. And I read past my bedtime to the point I literally stayed up all night. So, yay me. So we already got through almost all of the bookish prompts and almost all of the activity prompts. I just haven't have the red drink / mug yet. I don't have morally gray character and nostalgic spooky book. But we'll see about that one. Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, let's actually talk about the books the book I've read and the book I'm currently reading, and show y'all more about my reading journal. So first up, the book that I finished, which I did expect myself to finish this, and I'm actually glad it was the very first read for the readathon because I think it just makes sense, and that is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Now, if you know anything about Jan and her brand, is that Jan loves A Diary of Blood. I actually think this might be it's definitely one of her favorites. I don't think it's her ultimate favorite book, but it's definitely one of the favorites. It's up there. And this is actually my very first time reading it. I did initially plan to read it via audio, but I just started reading it physically, and I was just like, you know what? What's with the point of the audio? I didn't want to listen to it the audiobook, so I just read it physically. And I really, really did enjoy this one. I did really like S.T. Gibson's writing style in here. I think it really works well with the kind of story this is. Now, if you do not know what A Diary of Blood is, it's pretty much following Dracula and his very first bride, Constanta, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Yeah, Constanta, the first bride. And then when he starts getting more and more brides, it's also just a look of abusive, controlling relationships in here. So that's something, not really, if that's something a little bit uncomfortable for you, then don't check this one out. Actually, one thing I do appreciate with this copy of this book here is that there is an author note that features the content warnings, like depictions and brief references. So yeah, like toxic relationships, like there's emotional, verbal, and physical intimate partner abuse, gaslighting. There is sexual content in here, and the sexual content is graphic. I am the kind of person that needs to be warned about sexual content, especially if it's graphic. So I did appreciate that in here. There's definitely depression and mania in here, violence, murder, body horror, blood, gore, all the things. Alcohol is used in here. There's just a lot. It's a pretty dark story, and I really did enjoy it. I like how short it is as well, because it actually is a novella, and this particular copy I have here has the original novella, but it also is a short story in the end, which was interesting. And yeah, and I actually was also like annotating it as well, because I not only did I just like S.D. Gibbs's writing, but I think it made me want to annotate it. And I think my favorite quote on here was, "Love was no girlhood game. It was an iron yoke, forged in fire and heavy to wear." Honestly, I liked it. Honestly, I really like this one. It's actually one of my favorite quotes, and this is on page 121. So yeah, I definitely do recommend it. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot, I didn't let y'all know my rating. I rated this 4.25 stars. I really did enjoy the story. I really liked seeing I wouldn't say I enjoyed, falling along an abusive relationship regarding with 4 people in this polycule or anything, but I did appreciate how S.E. Gibson handled that, and handled the characters that were the victims in here, and handled the Dracula, which actually Dracula was not named in here, which definitely makes sense. Definitely appreciate that. And I also really liked the relationship that Constanta and Magdalena and Alexei formed. So those are the names of the brides, formed with each other in order to free themselves from Dracula. So yeah, I do indeed really like this one. I can see why it is Jan's favorite. It's just not really a favorite for me, but it is definitely something I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on S.D. Gibson and see what other works that she is gonna be coming out soon, which she does have a few. So yes, I do recommend this one. And this is the book that really could have fulfilled every single prompt for the readathon. However, for me, it didn't fulfill the morally gray character prompt for me, because I don't know, since the book is written in second person, it's kind of more epistolary kind of forward for the most part of it. It kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't really see Constanta as morally gray to me. At least not gray enough. More like gray, but you're on the lighter shade of gray, not like gray, I don't know, maybe that's just me being nitpicky, but I don't know, I just didn't see it fulfilled for that. And it's not really a nostalgic spooky book for me either, but it did fulfill the other things. It fulfilled the hardcover prompt for skeleton. It fulfilled the read a book with from 206 to 300 pages. It fulfilled obviously the vampire prompt, blood, and the title, favorite supernatural creature. And it did fulfill it fulfilled the fire involved prompt for the devil, which I was like, what? But once you read the book, it makes sense. So I'm just like, well, okay. So yeah, it fulfilled pretty much 6 out of the 8 bookish prompts. So that pretty much means that I was able to collect the skeleton. So I already have one character already, the skeleton, which works for me. I just need to find a red drink and mug, and then I'll easily will get the vampire, because I just gotta. So yeah, that's A Dowry of Blood. And that's actually the only book I've read in the past 3 days. I don't know why it took me so long to read A Dowry of Blood, since it really is actually short. But anyways, I want to show you all the books I'm currently reading that may or may not fulfill prompts, or might just be the same kind of prompt that I already had, because despite the fact I did read A Dowry of Blood and it did fulfill those 6 prompts, I am kind of see if I can get some other books in there that can fulfill the same prompts, or maybe double on some other prompts that I haven't read yet. So first up, I have Blood Depths by Terry J. Benton Walker. This was going to fulfill the hardcover prompt, the blood in the title. I think that was it. I don't know if it will fulfill any other prompt besides that, because it's still not giving nostalgic spooky. But anyways, if you don't know, this is I think this is a debut. Yes, this is a debut novel. This is YA contemporary fantasy. We're following twins. It's set in New Orleans. I think something happens to their mom. I have started it. I'm on page 38. So it's actually also pretty fast paced. Like, a lot has already happened, and I'm only like 38 pages. I'm just like, what in the world? Like, we already found out about the mom, and finding out that someone's trying to kill her, and maybe even kill the family, and a whole bunch of other things. And I was like, what in the world already? So definitely a lot more fast paced. And I do kind of like this, although I personally am not like, I don't really know what to say. It's just, since it is a YA novel, like, I don't know. Something about it's just not like giving me, oh, I'm loving this, or I'm particularly enjoying it. I'm not hating on it, to be honest. But I don't like the feeling of reading a YA book and I feel, about it. You know, I don't like feeling like that. I definitely felt like that when I was reading The Whispering Dark last week, and I really, really don't want to feel this way with Blood Depths. Especially when I originally got the e-arc for it from NetGalley, so I do want to read this soon. But I don't know, nothing about this is really giving me excitement to continue reading it, and I'm only 38 pages, but it is a fast-paced novel, even though it's nearly like 400 pages, so I think I'll just give it a shot. I did try the audiobook. The audiobook is fine, but I don't know. I think I'm not in the mood for an audiobook right now. I have not been in the mood for an audiobook for a little bit now, so I'm just like, okay, but honestly, I don't really know what to think about Blood Depths, besides the fact that it has a pretty cover. I already bought it this year. It was an anticipated release. Requested it for an e-arc on NetGalley. I'm like, I gotta read it. I gotta put a review on NetGalley, but I don't know how to feel about the book itself. I don't know. So I think I'm gonna keep reading it until I start to actively feel something. But if I start being indifferent and I get to the end, I don't know what to say. So that's my thoughts on Blood Depths. And then since I was in a weird funk with Blood Depths, I started reading Immortal Longings by Chloe Gone. This is actually one of my most anticipated releases for the year. It is the first in the Flesh and False Gods trilogy. This is inspired by Antony and Cleopatra. Although I have heard it's more inspired in the sense for the characters, not so the plot, because the plot, again, I literally just started this book today. I'm only on page 7, so I can't really say too much. But I do know it's something about there's hosting games. It's kind of like Hunger Games-esque. And I don't remember if I said this in my full moon update clip or anything, but I've never read the Hunger Games. I've never seen the movies, so I have no idea on actually what to really expect with something that's been compared to the Hunger Games. I don't really get. I've never really been interested much in the Hunger Games, so I was kind of surprised that Immortal Longings was compared to the Hunger Games. But I also was worried because there have been some books recently that were compared to the Hunger Games, and a lot of those books have been getting some pretty mixed reviews, especially when a few people, for some reason, in particular with this book, have compared it to Light Lark. Now, I've never read Light Lark, okay? I've never read it, but it does worry me. I'm just like, I don't like it if you put Immortal Longings and Light Lark in the same sentence. I'm like, why? So I don't know, but I have started it, and the writing style still reminds me of Chloe Gone, but it is definitely more, I don't know, it's pretty similar. I don't think there's much of a difference, although there are some things, but maybe this is just me being a little bit more nitpicky, but I don't know, I feel this way whenever I read a Chloe Gone book, even if I loved it, is that there is a way that she writes that feels not clunky, but a little bit clippy and a little bit repetitive. But then again, I am in the beginning. I am just learning about the world, learning about this Twin Cities, and I'm also learning about the magic here. But it's just body jumping, where you literally use your soul or something to jump from one body to another, which I was just introduced to, and I don't actually really like that idea of it. So I'm still gonna keep reading it, because I'm also annotating it, because I'm just like, I have to. I practically have actually read every single one of Chloe Gone's books, and I've annotated every single one of them, so I'm gonna annotate this one, whether I like it or not, okay? I'm annotating this. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts. So pretty much that is it as far as the reading updates. Now to go back to my reading journal, I did make a spread here. Yes, okay, here it is. So I did make a spread here. So I have the title page, which is the moon phases and stuff. I had colored it in, and then I also have this reader bingo thing here, thanks to Julie from Bujo Books on Instagram and here on Booktube. And I already have some spots colored in for A Diary of Blood. And yeah, and as I continue on with this readathon, I will fill this here if it see fits, and to also color in this stuff as well. When the readathon is over, I will print the book covers to fit right there and all the things, and then actually put a title to this to know that this is for the full moon readathon. Like, why is there so much blank space? Seriously, what is wrong with me? But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have to update y'all on And yeah, I'll pretty much will update y'all hopefully when I finish another book or something. And I think I'll also update y'all tomorrow for third quarter, and then wrap this vlog up in the Waning Crescent. But yeah, I will see you all in my next update. All right, salutations everyone. Today is August 4th, so this is day 4 of the readathon, and this is going to be the third quarter update. So in this update, you know, this is another phase of the moon, the third quarter, before we get closer to the Waning Crescent. And I do have a couple of updates. So first up, a non-bookish update, but an update nonetheless, because I think this is very, very fitting for this readathon. And that is that I was very generously gifted a nice, adorable little gift thanks to one of my siblings. I thank them for this. And that is a Funko Pop of Devil Dinosaur from the show Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I think this is very much fitting for the readathon because one of the characters to collect is the devil. And the books I've been reading for today, for this particular update actually, is regards to the devil. Sure, this is a dinosaur, but you see these horns here? The devil horns, okay? It is Devil Dinosaur. All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at him. Look at him. Just look at him, okay? Look at this. He's so adorable. I love him so much. I already love him. I gotta somehow find to get Moon Girl, and then the duo is complete. But for right now, I do have a little bobblehead Funko Pop Devil Dinosaur. I love it so much. Thank you to one of my siblings for that. Now let's get to the bookish stuff. So first up, I have been reading some more of Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I think I'm on page 20, so not very far. And I don't remember what I said yesterday with my thoughts on this, but I'm now a little bit further in. And it's not like a lot, because, you know, 20 pages isn't really a lot as far as plot-wise, but there are some things I am noticing that I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. And it is mostly have to do with the magic here, with the whole body jumping thing. Like, it's not like a complete deal breaker in a sense on the body jumping as far as for me when it comes to continue reading it, because we don't know, this one really does fit you with, you know, like Hunger Games kind of style games in here, which it has been talked about a little bit. I haven't gone too far to when the games actually start, but I have gone to the point where I started learning a little bit more of the body jumping things, because I'm starting to get a little more information on it. And honestly, I don't particularly like it as a concept where you literally are able to jump from one body to another. It's a genetic thing. Like, you have to have the gene to be able to do that, and not everyone who has the gene can even do it. But if you are strong enough, though, you can easily just jump from one body to another, and it is without consent. Like, the person that got jumped, it's just a whole violation of someone's body. Like, you can just use their body, move somewhere, and then when you're out of the body, you jump into another body. The person that you left behind, the user body, they have no idea how they got there. I'm just like, that's a complete violation of one's body, no matter what you do with it. So I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that when I continue reading this. I'm still gonna read it because I am still curious about the rest of the story, especially with this whole Hunger Games comparison thing going on with this book. As someone who's never read the book, so I'm just like, maybe there's something here. I don't really know, but I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic here for Chloe Gong's sake and just for my sake regarding this book, especially since it's the first in a trilogy. So yeah, well, I have to wait and see when I get further into the book. So I don't know. I'm already kind of hesitant with this book already, and I'm only on page 20. And there's also something with the writing style that doesn't flow right with me. Like, the way that it's written, it doesn't flow right. So when I'm reading it, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of description of like the feeling of this city, of the Twin Cities, Sun and Air, which is Sun Air. That's the name of the Twin Cities itself, but it doesn't really flow really well. I don't know. There's something about the writing here that's not flowing really well. And I'm starting to really notice it more since I'm reading other things. And I'm noticing way more now since I'm reading another book. And I'm just like, yeah, something about this writing here is very choppy, and I don't like it at all. But I'm still gonna be optimistic. I'm still gonna give this a chance. Again, if it comes too much, I will DNF it. But for right now, I want to give this a solid chance, especially since book of the month, and I am annotating this. I don't have any tasks with it, but I am underlining, keeping track of things, and yeah, that's just what I've been doing. So yeah, I'll let y'all know however I feel if I continue reading my thoughts on Immortal Longings. So I was reading Immortal Longings, you know, for the devil prompt and for the morally gray character, but I think this other book though I'm also kind of enjoying as well. I'm also reading for the morally gray character, and that is The Mask of Mirrors. I know you can't really see that because of the library sticker here, so I think I'm just gonna put this picture, the cover here instead, and I'm not very far into it. I'm on page 17, and I would just say I really do like this story so far. I'm only on the prologue. I'm still in the middle of the first chapter. The first chapter is actually pretty long. Actually, I think if you're someone who doesn't like long chapters, maybe stay away from this one because these chapters are long. Okay, the prologue is only like a few pages long, but the second chapter doesn't end until like page 32, and I'm already on page 17. That is quite long, very long. And I do also like on how it does have a pretty detailed map of the, not call it the entire world, but just like our setting here. And I find it very helpful so that I can have a perspective of things. The only thing I don't like though is that there's a glossary of Germanis Personae, because apparently there's a lot of names. There are a lot of names to keep track of here, because I think we're going through the houses of the nobility here, and that's a lot to keep track of. And honestly, there's a lot of names, and I don't like the fact that, as you can tell, it's all the way in the back here. I'm like, why is it all in the back? Whose idea in Orbit, because I think Orbit published this. Orbit, what's up with that? Why was it in the back of the book? Put that in the front matter, please. Don't put it in the back. Go through all these pages just to get to the Germanis Personae so I know who is who. And I just started this book, dang. And also I do use some page flags to keep track of like the parts, so that it's easier for me to track myself, to know how far I've gone into the book and stuff. But yeah, I do like this story so far. I don't know too much about the plot or the character too much, but I did really like the prologue, and I'm also kind of liking as well the first, so far, as much as I got into the first chapter. So yeah, I'm actually having some fun with Mask of Mirrors. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to update on reading wise and non-reading wise. So I do want to update y'all more when I get closer to pretty much when I decide to really end this vlog, really. So hopefully by then I have more to update y'all on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll definitely will update y'all when hopefully I finish a book, or maybe when this particular when part 1 here ends. I'll let y'all know. But anyways, see you then. Salutations everyone. Today is August 6th and I'm here for the Waning Crescent update. So first up, reading from yesterday and today has actually been quite slow. And I think it's because of the fact that the kind of books I'm choosing to read right now are kind of like, I'm not quite in the mood, or I'm just like, this isn't good kind of a thing. And I think this is because of the fact of that I'm still reading Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and I'm not really quite feeling this book, but I really want to give this one a chance. I've been reading this author's YA books for a couple of years now, and I really want to give her adult debut a shot here, especially since this has been one of my top anticipated releases of the year, my top 10 for sure. And I read a few more pages. I finally made it to page 53, but I guess I feel like I've been complaining about it lately, but like, maybe, I don't know if this is like an actual critique or if this is just a complaint that I'm ranting about, but maybe this is more of a rant since it's more opinion than anything, but I really don't like the concept of body jumping presented in this book. I don't like it, especially with now that I've gotten to the point where the games have finally begun and stuff, and we do have a main character here named Anton who is notorious for body jumping for reasons unknown, and I just don't like how he's just able to go from body to body, and I don't like what that means for this particular society. I don't like it as a concept. I don't know, but I'm still curious to see with other things that might happen, and I'm only, like, I truly believe I'm only pushing through with this book because it's Chloe Gong. I feel like with any other author, I honestly would have just DNF'd at this point, or unless it's not even another obligation, or I didn't get from the arc or whatever, I think I would have just DNF'd at this point. But I've read this author's YA works, and I've really enjoyed them, in fact, loved them even. So I really want to give this one a chance. Even if I don't like the world building, maybe I'll like something else about it. I don't know. I really do not know. So maybe this will be a book I'll just put down for the readathon, and I'll just read it just for the rest of the month for August? Or what? I don't know. I think I'll probably will just have to put this book down, just at least for the readathon, and I'll continue reading another time because I just cannot push myself through with this just for this readathon. I'll try outside of the readathon, and we'll see what happens. And then y'all will just find out my wrap up, my thoughts. We'll just go with that. Yeah, and then other than that, I did start reading Masters of Death by Aubrey Blake. I do have the ALC thanks to Macmillan Audio and NetGalley. And actually, I'm like 20% of the way through, and I really am enjoying this one. Let's see, what's the synopsis? This book is about following a Filipino vampiric real estate agent trying to figure out why this rich, privileged, dead guy is haunting this house and stuff. And then we have the Godson of Death, who's pretty much like a fraud of a medium named Fox de Moria, who's going to help the real estate agent vampire person Viola out pretty much. And we have some other cast of characters as well that we got in here. It feels like it's a lot. The synopsis is kind of a lot, but it's also interesting because there's so many like characters to follow through. And I think I'm going to use Masters of Death in lieu of like Immortal Longings as far as the Morally Grey prompt, because Fox de Moria does give a little bit of Morally Grey, not in the sense like this book does, but a different kind of Morally Grey. Then I'm like, okay, definitely more in the sense like, okay, I don't know how to feel about you, but also like I'm curious about you kind of a thing, unlike here with Immortal Longings, at least for just this prompt. So there's that. And I haven't really been reading much for today either. I've only read a few pages of Immortal Longings, and I'm talking through it. And again, I want this readathon to be fun. Okay, if I don't read a lot of books, that's fine, but I'm here to have fun. So if a book doesn't work for me for this readathon, we're just gonna put it down, or it's just straight up DNF, which is exactly what I'm doing with Immortal Longings. But yes, I think that's pretty much it that's been going on for week 1 of the readathon. Yes, this is week 1. We have the other week. So the next 7 days, there'll be a separate reading vlog for that, because we're not trying to have this reading vlog be too long. It's probably already long as it is. So yeah. Okay, so to recap. Oh, wait. It's not just the fact I even have to recap. I also forgot. I collected another character. So just like with the skeleton prompt, I was reading Diary of Blood for the hardcover prompt, and the read a book that's from 206 pages to 300 pages. But this book also fulfilled the blood in the title or cover and favorite supernatural creatures. I don't really have a lot of favorite supernatural creatures, mostly because I don't gravitate to a lot of them. But so far, vampires have been sticking, especially polyamorous vampires. So a Diary of Blood fulfills such things. And then we also have the red drink and mug prompt, which is the activity prompt. And I do have a strawberry Fanta here, so I have a red drink. Hence, I have fulfilled the vampire prompt. Woohoo! So pretty much, I have actually collected 2 characters for this reading vlog, despite the fact I've only read 1 book. Hopefully, in the next vlog, I'll finish more books, or maybe I just straight up DNF books. Who knows? But that's for y'all to know for the other video. But anyways, these are the books. Well, this is the book I've finished. These 3 are the ones I've started. So as far as Blood Depths is concerned, I do not know if I'll continue it, but I'm still going to continue it because I do want to give a review for it on NetGalley, since I did request the E-Arc Mask of Mirrors. I do want to get to, but I don't know when I'll get to it though, because of how long it is, and I am intimidated, even though I am intrigued. Immortal Longings, I want to push through it. This might be a potential DNF. We'll have to wait and see. This is pretty much the books that I've started reading and when I finished reading. Oh, and also Masters of Death as well that I've started reading. As far as what I think, because now I'm already halfway through the readathon, as far as what I think I'll accomplish. This is a prediction, so y'all won't know how this all ends until the next video. I believe that I will be able to fulfill actually, I think I'll be able to get every single character in this readathon, because I'm using Masters of Death by Aubrey Blake for the Morally Grey prompt, and I've already read a Diary of Blood for the Fire Involved prompt, which I actually didn't think it would fulfill that one until I read the book. So that's cool. So if I read Masters of Death, and I already did the whole read past my bedtime thing because I was reading a Diary of Blood, so then I have only Masters of Death to fulfill that one prompt, and then I can collect the Devil. And then I still got Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed that could fulfill the nostalgic spooky prompt. I don't know, because I think a Diary of Blood fulfilled the someone else picked prompt, because I mean, Jan was recommending a Diary of Blood. So I don't know. I just don't know the nostalgic spooky vibe kind of a book. I don't know necessarily if Juniper and Thorn will really fulfill such a prompt, since I've never read anything by this author. I'm not familiar with the Juniper tree, but One thing I do know that does feel a little bit nostalgic to me is Gothic horror. Also, this book is due in the library like a few days after this readathon, and I won't be able to renew it. So, gotta read this in, and I am intrigued with this one. So, there's that. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. I mean, that's all I got, and that's all my predictions because I do want to read some more books, you know, I really do, but I'm not a fast reader, and I'm starting to realize that the first week of the month is usually when I read the slowest. So hopefully next week I'll at least have more reading done, and I can give y'all way more substantial updates. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I already fulfilled all the activity press, so now it's just the reading. But anyways, thank you all for coming on to this video. If you like it, comment down your thoughts. If you're participating in the readathon, let me know. Y'all let me know if any of y'all have participated in the readathon. What's been your favorite book so far? Or when the readathon ends, what's been the best book that you've read for the readathon? Give me all the things. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, but you're not sure what to comment down below, but you want to let me know you're here, comment down below the crescent moon emoji, since this is a more of a waning crescent update here towards the end. All right? And yeah, thank you all again for coming to this video, and I hope to see you all in my next one for part 2 of this readathon. Bye.